What's up, everybody? I'm Aslan Hudjavandi, joined by recruiting analyst for Warchant.com, Michael Langston. It's the Warchant.com recruiting call-in show with the aforementioned Michael Langston. Promo code bottom of your screen, Warchant30 for 34 days of access to the ultimate Seminoles sport source. You get onto the premium recruiting board. You can live, breathe, eat, talk recruiting 24 hours a day, every single day with none other than Michael Langston. Michael, how are you, man? How else can these folks show us their support?
I'm doing fantastic. Why don't you guys hit that like button for us? That helps us promote the show and keep it going and keep things exciting and give you guys the best quality and the best content that you can find anywhere. That's kind of our goal.
Right on. It is a call-in show after all. We do have callers already waiting in the queue. Set the table for us today, though, Michael. We're approaching closer to – I don't like calling it the late signing period, but it makes sense because December's early. But February is always the O.
Like we might have lost Aslan here.
I'm here. I thought you could still hear me even though the picture went out. Anyhow, okay. Long story short, what can fans kind of look forward to here in the next few weeks as Florida State approaches that February date?
Yeah, I usually just call it the last signing day of the class. 2021. I think obviously we have a lot of hot boards coming up. We just started releasing the quarterbacks. We'll do them position by position down. Sure, running back, and then we'll mix it up with some defense just to kind of flip the script a little bit. I like to do position stuff just by position. I did a little different thing where I gave my thoughts on the position currently at this time, since this thing's going to change a lot when it comes to the hot board. So that's what we have coming up. I've already got. We always discuss this afterwards, but I got all your questions answered. I will post it after we get done. I'll throw in a couple of tidbits and recruiting notes that I have as far as 2021, 2022. So that's kind of setting the table of what we have today. And then I'm just going to answer all you guys' questions, and whatever's on your mind, let's get at it.
All right. With that said, man, let's go right to the phone lines here. I got stats in front of me. I don't know if he realizes that or not, but we go to the mayor of Virginia Beach, Virginia. We got Gator Kirk on the line. Gator, do you know how many times you've called in to assorted warchant.com related programming here on YouTube?
No idea. No clue.
This was your 43rd call. This is your 43rd call in to our shows, going away with the title. I can't see anybody else even within striking distance of you, man. Thanks for the loyalty and the patronage. How are you, man?
I'm very good. How are you, Aslan?
Great, man.
How are you, Michael?
I'm fantastic. We're doing well. Not so cold as it has been the last few days. So it's fixing to get moderate, fixing to be in the 60s for a few days from what I hear. But no, we're doing good. Just busy as usual. Just trying to finish off this 2021 class, and then, as most have seen, get started on 2022. But really just we're doing great. What's on your mind?
I always ask about Taiwan, but I won't ask about it tonight. I want to know how much pressure is put on recruits to early enroll, so that way they got to sign early, and then they get them in the door before they can flip. But also just that advantage of having all of that spring ball and the weight conditioning and all of that. Are there certain kids like, Travis Hunter that they're talking about, hey, do you think you can get your academics in order to graduate in December so you can, have even more of a leg up on starting?
I think they really leave it up to the kids in general. I mean, they prefer everyone to early enroll. Obviously, you can't do that. You only have a certain amount usually that you get, I think around 10 or 11. But I don't think there's like some major push for certain guys, because if you start doing that, then it's like, what about the guys that aren't as highly regarded? What if they don't get a push? So I think FSU kind of leaves it up to the kid. They prefer them getting there as quickly as they can, but I think really it comes down to just the comfort level of the kid, because as you alluded to, Kirk, it does help them as far as getting in there, knowing the offense, getting familiar with, getting your semester done as far as a freshman, because you're going to take a lot of classes. So I think it really just comes down to the prospect and what they're comfortable with. I don't think FSU goes in there with their recruiting pitch and says, "Hey, we want you to enroll early, get it done." I think the kids know how much they want them there early. So I think it's just really up to the kid, because these things usually, when you're early enroll, you have to do it. It takes a while to get in advance. I mean, you can't just say, "Oh, I'm just going to decide to early enroll." I mean, you have to. There's certain qualifications that you have to have. So I think it really just comes down to the kid's preference more than it is FSU, because I think the recruits know FSU wants you there as early as possible. So it just really comes down to what fits.
You would almost have to start your sophomore year in high school to get all of those ducks in a row just to get your credits. I mean, it would be really. I mean, you could do it after your sophomore year, but it almost have to be a goal of yours. Entering your sophomore year is that I want to have enough to graduate in December, because if you wait too long, you just can't get the courses. At least in Virginia, you can. I don't know about other states.
I think it goes to that for most places, because it's hard to early enroll. You have to almost do it a year in advance and have a note like, "Hey, that's something I want to do." So when you hear me interview kids and the kids say, "Yeah, I might enroll early, I might not," they're usually not at early or rolling in early. I mean, because if you don't know by now, then you probably aren't doing it, unless you're just an excellent student, you've had things credits wise, and you have the choice to do it. But most cases, it's something you have to plan for and do in advance before you hit this stage. But really, just from the school perspective, they would love kids to early enroll. Obviously, they would love Travis Hunter to early enroll. They'd love all these highly regarded. Quincy McAdoo, I'm sure they would love for him to early enroll, just to get these guys in there. Although I will cater with that, is that it really doesn't matter if you early enroll or not. If with the way the transfer portal, it doesn't really matter. So I think it helps. I think it helps the student athlete more than it does, I guess, FSU in general. I mean, I think it helps them more than it does FSU, because they still have to prove themselves when they get there. So I think it's really just the preference of the recruit.
Okay, sir. I appreciate it. You all have a good evening. Everyone, if you're not a member of Warchant, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you get Zaxby's. Hit that thumbs up. We got 30 now. I'd like to get over 100 again. And as always, go Noles. You guys have a great evening. Appreciate y'all taking my call. And looking forward to 2 weeks from now, the signing period, and hopefully we'll get some dogs coming in.
Yep.
That's right. Gator Kirk from Virginia Beach, Virginia, joining us here on the show. Michael, I want to kind of ask you a question that sort of piggybacks off what Gator Kirk was asking. So say they get, there's 6 or 7 kids that are all eligible to early enroll. They actually do show up early, but they can only count so many of them towards that future number. Is there any benefit to being here early, but not being like an early enrollee, or is that not possible? If you show up and you enroll in January, you're automatically counted towards that future number.
Yeah, I mean, if you're an early enrollee, I think it benefits the player more than it does. I mean, yeah, FSU is going to help your program. You have more guys to work with. You have more explosive athletes to work with. But at the end of the day, I think it comes down to helping. It's more beneficial for the prospect, because you're still coming in there having to prove yourself. But I think it's really into the numbers is probably 10 or 11, like I said, that you can possibly take. I haven't seen too many more than the 10 or 11 number. So I think it's more beneficial for the recruit than anything.
All right. Well, that said, let's keep it rolling here on the call-in line. Here we got Daryl in Thomasville, North Carolina, joining us now. This is Daryl's 21st call into the programs here on Warchant TV on YouTube. Hit the thumbs up button, everybody. Daryl, good evening to you. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good, Aslan. How you doing, Michael?
I'm fantastic.
Good evening.
Yep, we're doing fantastic. Everything's great here. What's on your mind?
I was going to ask you. I know we got a couple weeks to go before the signing day. I know with Pruitt stepping, being let go there at Tennessee, Fulmer, stepping down at Tennessee. which is a lot of guys are, decommitting in Tennessee, some offensive linemen, wide receivers and things like that are decommitting. Is there any prospects like offensive linemen, maybe wide receivers that maybe at one time was being recruited by Florida State that maybe had committed to Tennessee? Is there anybody like that might be still interested in FSU that Florida State that might be trying to go after? That we might still have some scholarships to take care of.
Yeah, that's a good question, Daryl. Obviously, there's names in there that they have, but the problem is you only have 3 spots. So there's not much room there. I think they had a kid, Colby Smith, that decommitted from. He was an offensive lineman, 2021 class. I mean, he's one guy. There's several other guys that are possible to hit the portal, like Eric Gray, running back, although FSU already has them. Then there's the popular names like Malachi Weidman, who signed there, and then defensive end Morgan Joseph. That's another one that they're both committed to FSU. But the point what I get with that is, people get so enamored by those guys that were previously committed to FSU. It's like, what makes you think that FSU would want them back? Like, you chose another school over them. So it's kind of like, it's like you chose your path. So it's like those feelings, your feelings get hurt with that, when it comes to buy-in, culture, character, what you want. So I think that's the things that a lot of fans get excited about. But at the same time, when somebody tells you no and they choose another path, you're kind of saying, I don't want to be there. You're saying, I'm not buying into your program. But there's going to be players that are out there. I don't know specifically a lot of guys. I want to say Henry Tutu is one that's a linebacker. He's really good. If he enters the portal, he's the guy. And then I mentioned Colby Smith, I think offensive lineman that's was in their 2021 class. He's another one. So there's several guys, but I think it's kind of a wait and see to see who hits the portal, and then I'll kind of address them case by case for each one. And we'll kind of go from there. But as Aslam toes up, Colby Smith on the thing, talented prospect from out of North Carolina. Wonder if he wants to stay closer home, or if FSU is a place that he certainly would be interested in, and if FSU is interested in him. So that's kind of what I have to check on. But there's going to be more guys. It's just I'm going to do it case by case when it comes to these guys hitting the portal. But I just don't want to give a grand total of all these guys, just start listing 1,000 guys, and then FSU not, one, they don't hit the portal, and two, FSU doesn't go after them. So those are the main ones that I know so far to kind of watch. Like I said, the linebacker, I think he's out of California, and then offensive lineman Colby Smith. Those are kind of the main ones right now, Daryl.
I got another quick question for you. What was it? You, or maybe I read it somewhere else where you got early enrollees. They can count toward maybe next year's class, or am I mistaken on that?
No, the rule is there. It was a previous rule, and FSU's done it before. But the problem is they made another rule recently. My boy Irish Chaffel has kind of updated me on that they're doing it where you can't do that, where it's not a loophole anymore. So I think you just need we're probably just the best thing to do is to block that out of your mind that they can do that right now. So it's basically you have the 25 number that you reach, but then there's also things where I think there's gray areas where you can juggle a few things here and there to count scholarships a different way as far as from transfers. So that's something that probably they can do a little bit with that. But besides that, I don't think there's really anything you can do as far as counting guys for his class, because I think right now they're making it where they don't want that to happen. So NCAA doesn't want that to happen. So I think right now that's not a logical option to them to have. I originally thought that they could do that, but then I didn't know about the new rule. So Ira told me about that. So yeah, so I wouldn't even consider that an option right now since there's so many loopholes and changes there. I think the main thing to focus on is they're probably going to add 2 or 3 more guys in this 2021 class. and that's kind of the bottom line. Maybe an outside chance at a fourth, but that's pretty much where they're at as far as 2021.
All right, guys. Well, y'all do a fantastic job, and thank you for holding everything down and keeping us informed, especially up here in this North Carolina area. We don't ever hear anything about Florida State up here. So thank you for keeping me informed. Y'all do a wonderful job. Hit that likes button. Subscribe to Warchant. It's the greatest site on earth. And hit that thumbs up and go to Zaxby's and keep give these guys the tips that they deserve. We'll talk to y'all later. And go Noles.
There we go. Daryl from Thomasville, North Carolina, man. Captain D _63. What a dude. What a dude.
What a guy.
He's a dude being a dude. Love him. Love him.
Yeah, that was awesome. Great call, Daryl. We appreciate all that. Yeah, great questions, by the way. I mean, some good questions in there. I mean, I was really impressed. So, but yeah, good call. Keep it coming, guys. I think we're flowing pretty well. So let's keep it rolling. Keep firing away. Don't be afraid to ask multiple questions too. If you get on the air, I mean, I'll answer as many as you want.
All right. How about Thomas Giddings? Welcome to the party, Thomas, man, my boy. Bring it. Let's go. Thomas working like 3 jobs, finding time to hang out with us here on this little show, man. We appreciate you, Thomas. Michael, the young linebackers we signed last year, what are the linebacking prospects we are going after now? Preferred, or is there a transfer preferred since we have youth and returning linebackers? Again, as we had found out in real time, or I did, Emmett Rice coming back for 2021. So what are they looking at right now for linebacker, Michael? That's the one position we keep talking about needs, and they got a receiver, and they got a quarterback, and they got a pass rusher, and they're trying to get an offensive tackle. And it's like, well, hey, what about linebacker? You know?
Everyone wants a spot until the spots run up. I mean, just feed positions. I think really the transfer market is going to be where if they take one, they would take one, unless something happened where, I don't know, one guy didn't qualify or something, and then maybe there's a guy out there in high school or JUCO that you like that you maybe take. But right now, I mean, I think they're standing pat of what they have. I mean, they have a lot of young guys coming back. You have Steven Dix, you got Amari Gaynor, you got Emmett Rice, who Aslan just talked about, DJ Lundy, several guys that are all coming back. So you pretty much return your whole nucleus as far as linebackers there. And then I think if there's one that just pops in the portal that really jumps out to them, then if it's too good to pass up, then I think FSU will make a run. But I don't think there's a necessity in their view to take a linebacker, because I think their main 2 weaknesses of this team was the pass rush was awful throughout the whole season, and then their back end was very bad as far as in the secondary and coverage. Their pass defending grades were just not good at all. So those were 2 of their biggest weaknesses. So if you fix those 2 of the biggest weaknesses in secondary and your defensive front, they feel pretty confident with what they have in that and those linebackers and those young guys, that these guys are going to emerge. These guys are going to play. They're fine. They're okay there. Would you like to add one more just experienced linebacker? Sure, but at the same time, you're in a numbers crunch where you're talking about, you need an offensive tackle. Pretty confident Destin Hill is going to be in this class from what I hear, from everything I've gotten. So that's 2 spots. And then if you got one more spot, you either got to take Taiwan Malone or a defensive end, I would think, to finish off your pass rush. So I'm not sure you have room to take another linebacker. It would be great if you could. I will say they did sign 2 very good preferred walk-ons. I know people don't like hearing walk-ons because the chances of them usually making impact, but there's been good stories of that. I'd say the Amy kid at linebacker is one that really just jumps out to me. That's a kid that had offers to D1 schools that is going to come in here, and I certainly think he's going to be, if there's one to watch, it'd be the Amy kid at linebacker out of South Florida. I think he's the guy that I think people will like a lot. I think he's a guy that has a chance to make an impact and make his imprint on this program. But besides that, that's kind of where they sit with the linebacker position.
All right, there you go. That's a pretty thorough explanation of things. I guess, yeah, with them they seem like they played, a lot of nickel last year too. I mean, that's not everyone's so excited about them going to a 4-2-5, but man, they played a lot of 4-2-5 last season. I guess you're just hoping that those 5 guys will be a little bit better, and the 2 linebackers won't be nearly as pronounced in their weaknesses.
Well, and the other thing is you can't fix everything. I mean, here's the deal: you can't fix every.
Come on, man. This is Florida State, man. You've got numbers. You can massage things around. They can get a linebacker, but if there's not a good linebacker out there, you don't need to force it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, if there's somebody who jumps out, you can do it. But I'm amazed at the amount of positions that they were able to address just on this portal, because I was skeptical they were going to be able to address the amount of stuff that they already have. So, yeah, I mean, there's always going to be one more position that you want. Certainly linebacker would be it. But I just go back to that thing. If you fix the defensive ends and defensive line and you fix your secondary, and then you got a bunch of young guys in that linebacker crew, that's going to mask a lot if there's issues there. So that's the kind of the way I look at the linebacker position. All
right, well, it's the optimistic musings of Michael Langston is what we usually get. But check this out, though, man. Just shows up and leaves. That's all he does. Just shows up, and then he's like, I'm gone. Well, he dropped $100 on his way out the door. Let's go, Willie. What is going on? Let's go.
Woo! Willie.
Dollar bills, y'all.
Willie, come on, man. What are you doing? You got to say something.
If sharing is caring, Willie is Santa Claus.
Good grief, my friend.
That's big time.
Dropping McDonald's bags on your guys, man. Let's go. Willie's got pillar status coming up here. Willie, again, man, like if you want to ask a question, if you want us to shout out like your buddy.
Yeah, let us know. We'll give him a shout out.
If you got something you want us to promo for you, man, $150 will get you some love. We appreciate it, Willie. You're the man. Maybe post a song you like. I'll use it for like a open on the podcast or something like that.
There you go. Find something, anything, whatever. We're open for suggestions, Willie, so fire away.
We'll keep Willie on the screen. Let's turn back to the phone lines. So we got another caller. Looks like a 757 area code. Maybe this is somebody within the circle of Gator Kirk. Caller, what's up? Who's this and where are you calling us from?
Hey, it's Kat from Virginia Beach.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. What's up, Kat?
Hey, how are y'all tonight?
We got the best part of the family. Let's go.
Splendid.
What's that?
So we got the best part of your family with you and Kurt. So you're the best. You're the better half, right?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So, thank y'all for keeping him busy all off season. It just occupies his FSU mind there. So he gets after me because I only like to call on recruiting nights, but I just so many questions about recruiting. So the question I had tonight was: is there a particular position that they're historically more successful with or prefer to get out of the portal rather than high school recruits, like maybe ones that are harder to evaluate for high school players, or is it just kind of all over the place?
Well, appreciate the call, Kat. Tell Kirk we said what's up. One of our favorite callers, by the way. But I think the main thing is the portal stuff's just really just started the last 3 or 4 years. So I don't think I think wide receiver position is there's a big amount of guys as far as who you can get. So I think that's probably one of the easiest. I think DB is another one that you got a great selection of guys. I think the guys that are toughest are the trenches guys, which the mainly offensive tackle and defensive tackle, because they don't grow on trees. They're just really hard to find that elite guy that you're looking for that's going to change your program. So you have to things just fall right into place for the right guy. So I'd say offensive tackle and defensive tackle are probably the toughest. The skill guys are a little more easier. Obviously, quarterbacks are also – there's a lot of them out there, but they're also very selective in finding the right one. And certainly FSU hit the home run with Mackenzie Milton and getting their guy. But just tells you how difficult it is, because the year before – they could have taken a transfer quarterback, and they didn't, because they didn't feel like the fit was there. They didn't want to mess up the young nucleus they had. So a lot of times it's just at the right time as far as timing when it comes to this transfer portal stuff. But I think offensive tackle, defensive tackle are usually the most difficult for me. And then wide receivers are probably the easiest.
With with timing, you mentioned timing too. So another question I had was, I see where schools can potentially reduce or end scholarships at the end of the term that the player enters the portal. Does FSU typically do that when they've got players entering the portal, and does that play into the timing of when players do enter the portal, both from FSU and other schools?
I think that's a good point, Kat, that it does depend on the timing. And yes, they do that just like any other school. But I think it really just comes down to most, especially with FSU, they have discussions with their kids. They like, look, this is what you're facing. This is what we have in front of and everything. Here's what we have. You're going to have every opportunity to be the guy. And if you feel like it's not working out or you don't feel a comfort level there, then, if you have to get in the portal, then so be it. Kind of Leonard Warner is a good example of that. He plays the Fox position, which is kind of a mixture of linebacker and defensive end. He went out there in the portal. He saw that, and once he thought about it, it's like, hey, you know what? I feel very comfortable. I know they're bringing in new dudes, but I can be in this rotation. I feel comfortable about this system. So a lot of it goes into the portal stuff and just is about comfort and do I feel that my fit is going to be there at this school when I start thinking about leaving. So I think there's a lot of different factors that go into kids entering portal. And a lot of times I tell people that I think when kids enter the portal, I think they already know 2 or 3 options that are at least very interested in them. Most of the time they know where they're probably going before they actually talk to coaches on the phone, because they have an idea that I know these guys are going to be interested in me. I know they're going to want me. So keep that in mind with the portal stuff. Now, do you have occasions where sometimes kids just jump in there where they just don't have interest and they want to see what's out there, and then once they see what's out there, they can come back. But as far as factors, I think really it just comes down to can I see myself emerging on this roster? And that's really what it comes down to.
Great.
How's that, Kat? Did I do okay? Did I do okay? Was that a good answer for you?
I'm sure I'll have tons more questions.
Okay, that's okay.
For another day.
Anytime.
All right. Thanks, y'all. Have a good night.
Thank you, Kat. Have a great night. That's Kat from Virginia Beach, Virginia, also known as the better half of the entertaining duo that is Kat and Gator Kirk, joining us from, again, Virginia Beach, Virginia. Let's keep it rolling here, Mike. We got another caller in the queue. 850 repping out, looks like, here on the caller ID. What's up, caller? Who's this? Where are you calling us from?
Yo, this is me?
You're on.
Go ahead. You're on. Go ahead.
Hey.
What's up?
How's it going, Aswan, Michael?
Who this?
Who is this?
Hey, this is Tucker from Colorado.
Tucker from Colorado, man. Where in Colorado?
On color, long time.
Welcome to the Terror Dome, Tuck. You're breaking up. I think you're calling us from the top of a mountain. Move a little lower. Get a little closer.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, a little bit better. You're a little bit better there.
There we go. Yeah, out here in Golden, Colorado, home of the famous Coors.
Yeah, all right. Some Colorado Kool-Aid. Crack one open for me, Tucker.
There we go. I'm calling from my number, but I'm calling from the 303.
All right.
Got a quick little comment here.
Oh,
Kids are better than Chick-fil-A.
okay. All I heard was Chick-fil-A. You're still breaking up on us, Tucker. You're like the plane's going out.
I said Michael's Nuggets are better than Chick-fil-A.
Hey,
there you go.
There we go.
There we go.
I appreciate that.
I also just want to say I've been super impressed with. I know it's not the best class that we've ever signed by far, but like Corey and you guys have kind of hit on before, like pretty dang solid. And my question really was, Mike, how many classes does it take to kind of get us back to banging on people again, moving people around and letting them know who we are? Like, I don't expect to be Bama anytime soon, but how many good solid classes does it take to get us back on solid feet here?
Yeah, thanks for the call, Tucker. I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, it usually takes like two or three classes. I'm glad you brought up the point of the class. I mean, because a lot of the first year you do is about fits and stuff like that. But then if you go back to it and you start looking at the transfer portal and you go through these 8 guys that FSU has already got in their program. Okay, let's break it down. Mackenzie Milton. That's a 5-star talent. If he's healthy, that's probably a 5-star talent when you look at his talent. Jermaine Johnson, 4-star talent. Jamie Robinson, 4-star talent, defensive back. Brandon Moore, 2nd, 3rd round grade, NFL grade for the draft. That's another 4-star. So you go through the thing and you measure that up and you put it up in this class. It makes you look at that class a lot differently. Yeah, they're in the 30s as far as the ranking now, but if you add that to what they're given the transfer portal, it makes a big difference to the class. You're talking about being top 15, top 20. So when you add everything together. So I think that's the big thing. But I think two or three more classes. I think you're going to see a lot more 4- and 5-star guys that'll be listed as far as FSU next year. Probably land a lot more than what they had before. Not a big number as far as what they did, but it'll be a higher number from what you saw this year. So you'll see they've already got a 5-star on Travis Hunter. They're after another 5-star on Julian Armella, who I think they've got a good shot with. So I think you're already trending and seeing the trends. And then all it takes is, and the reason you get these portal guys is to win. You win on the field. You win with these transfer guys. You go out there, say they get 8 wins. That's going to grab people's attention. Your recruiting's going to take off. And then from there, that's why I say it usually takes 2 or 3 classes, and then you're back to what people are used to with FSU football. Doesn't mean you're winning national championships, just means you're back to competing with the big time teams. And that's why the portal is so vital for FSU in these last 2 years.
Yeah, absolutely. I look back to what Jimbo did, and it seemed like it just literally took a handful of classes, and then boom, there we were.
Yeah.
I was kind of curious.
It's going so good. It's going so good, Tucker. And then you cut out again.
So good. Did I lose you guys?
No, we're here now.
Okay. I am actually coming down out of the mountains
Okay.
skiing in today, so I apologize about the breakup there.
Nice.
So, well, I appreciate you answering my question. Aslan, Mike, you guys are top flight. Love everything you do. And I'll just hang up now and keep on listening. Y'all make sure you go ahead and subscribe to Warchant. And come on, man, it drives me nuts. How come people can't hit the like button? It takes 2 seconds.
Tell them, Tucker, Golden, Colorado.
2 seconds,
Call him. Hey, we appreciate you, Tucker. Have a great one, bud.
Yeah.
Papa Coors for us too.
Yeah, man. Hopefully the mountains are blue on your can. Nice frosty beverage. I know Corey's a Mick Ultra guy, but I'm, Coors Light's what I was weaned on, or grew up on, rather, I should say. All right, let's keep it rolling here. We got some calls. We got some questions, rather, from YouTube. Khalil Young in the house, $14.99 in the jar. Appreciate you a little bit of this.
Dollar.
A little bit of that. All right, what is it? Oh, I used to joke around calling Khalil retro because he always wants to talk about, looking back. Is this guy better than this guy? Is this team better than this team? Let's look into the future now, though, Michael. What is the potential for 2022 class rank-wise if Florida State can manage to win 6 to 8 games? Here we are talking about what things would do for us. God
in the future, huh?
How good do you feel Notre Dame will be next season after losing so much? I am aware that they recruit well. All you, Michael.
Yeah, I mean, I think top 10, top 15 is very possible if you do that. Obviously, you're showing a direction of winning, so you're going to attract recruits. You're not going to jump from the 30s to just top 5 right then, but I think top 15, top 10, maybe if things even bounce the right way, you get inside that 10, but probably not much higher than that. But I think that's kind of what you're looking for, top 10, top 15 class. And then, as far as I guess Notre Dame, I think Notre Dame will be a new team. I think FSU will be a new team. I think FSU will be an improved new team. What Notre Dame is, we'll have to see. But I'm excited about that game because I think there's a potential to it's going to be interesting, as far as that game. But that's kind of where I think, as far as the class rank going into the, I guess, next season, because I've gone through this hot board. I'm done with it all. And I told Aslan, I've told Gene this, and like, there's a lot more 4- and 5-star guys than I've done in a while. Even back to the Taggart era, there wasn't this many 4- and 5-star guys that I go through. So Aslan's still trying to find FSU.
There we are.
There we are. 38, right in there. But it just kind of goes to show you, it takes time to build this process of growth as far as what FSU is and what they're going to be, and that's why they had to go to the portal to get guys that are going to help you win now. And that's kind of their goal, and that's why it was such a big deal to get Mackenzie Milton, an elite quarterback, assuming he's healthy. It sounds like everything's going well, but that's why it's so important to get that guy to kind of get you lifted off the ground, and then once you get that going, FSU kind of recruits itself with how good FSU is. When you look at their program, it's historically, traditionally, it's up there with anybody. I mean, kids love it. Geographically, it's in a very good spot that kids love, from Georgia to Florida. So recruits want FSU to win. So once you give them a reason to win, they're going to come. And I think we're already seeing some of that with the gradual upstick in the 2022 hot board. I see a lot of that. So I think if you keep winning and you do things that you need to do on the field, the results in recruiting is going to take care of itself, whether it's top 10 or top 15. They're going to take care of itself.
We'll take that. I just see 6 wins, and it's like, here we go. We're in the top 15 now. But I mean, it makes sense, right? It does make sense, because that you're doubling your win total. You're showing that you're moving in the right direction, and people are going to want to. No one's going to want to go to Tennessee. That's for sure. So that's one less clue you have to worry about. Well, let's keep it rolling here. We got Thomas Giddings is back, round 2. Thomas, you don't have to drop money twice. I mean, I'm not gonna tell you, that I'm upset with you, but you don't have to. Do 2 of those. We appreciate you, Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, how does preferred walk-on work? They get private academic scholarship and bright futures, since they never sign an LOI, letter of intent, with the team and still participate with the team. Does it count against the numbers crunch?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Preferred walk-ons just means these are guys that the staff scouted. They're picking hand-selecting these guys that they want as far as a preferred offer. And they're saying, we want you to walk on to FSU. You get to do the same things that all the scholarship guys do. You're just not on scholarship. That's really the whole thing. There's no bright futures or anything like that with them. It's just basically they have a chance to earn a scholarship, and these are guys that they've scouted. So it's almost like a whole different thing of, you got the scholarship players, but when a coach scouts you and personally picks you and handpicks you, they feel like you're a guy that can earn a scholarship at Florida State, or otherwise they wouldn't have wasted their time. So the fact that that's what preferred walk-ons are, is just basically hand-picked guys from the FSU staff. And I'm talking about all the position coaches, Norvell, mainly Norvell, because he's a big part of this. So I think these are hand-picked guys that they want to be a part of their program.
All right, right on. We appreciate it, Thomas. Again, man, thank you very much for the tip. I mean, shoot, you're working like 3 jobs, you said. I mean, come on, man. We appreciate it. You don't have to do that. Let's keep it rolling. Jeff Hill's in the house, dropping 20. He's got Andrew Jackson. He gets a little of this. All right, come on. Whispers, rumors, Michael. What do we got? What are we looking at for tackle?
Jeff, I would love to tell you a bunch of names, but the only names I've covered is on the site, which is David Parrish out of North Texas. He's a guy that I do think there's communication with FSU on. He's played in around 19 games, I want to say, around there. I mean, point is he's got plenty of experience. He's kind of the main one. I know people brought up TJ Stormont from Colorado State, who later went to TCU. Now he's ready to go in the portal again and looking at somewhere else. I have not heard FSU with that one. I think I was told, I wasn't given names, but I was told there's like 1 or 2 or 3 guys, between 1 to 3 guys that they're waiting to go in the portal that they've been kind of eyeing. So I think it's just kind of a wait and see type thing. And the other thing, we brought this up in the happy hour last week, which was a lot of these guys are going to go through spring. Somebody's going to get disgruntled. They didn't get the job. They go to portal. There's a guy that open up for you, and possibly a guy that FSU, because FSU has a long time. People seem to think like you have to do this in a week or a couple of days. It's like it's going to take time where they don't have to rush into this stuff. They don't have to go out there and get this thing done immediately. I think FSU is going to be extremely selective. I've said that many times. I don't have a lot of names. I've given Jeff kind of what I have right now, but I think there'll be more names coming to the picture. But this is an ongoing thing that I know FSU fans don't want to preach patience, but you're going to have to preach patience because you're talking about one spot left. So I think FSU is going. I think the point what FSU wants, they don't necessarily need to have a 5-star can't miss offensive tackle. They want somebody that matches the skill set of what Love Taylor gives you on that other side. If they get somebody that does some of the same things that Love Taylor does in skill set, he fits the culture, he fits your program, he fits the mindset of what you're looking to get out of your players, I think that's the guy they're going to be looking at.
I don't know about this guy, man. I ain't gonna lie. I mean, he opted out in 2020, Brian Parrish from North Texas, but
just a name, Aslan. Just a name.
I know. I'm just saying, but I mean,
yeah,
not a lot to be excited about. I think it kind of goes back to the point of you talking about patience, but it's just being practical, man. There's not a lot of great guys in the portal, man. I mean, going that great, although he's got a good landing spot.
Yeah, and I'll tell people when he gets serious with guys. I mean, I've said that with several guys that they added, that when he gets serious, you can tell. And two, I think the main thing is like you can really tell early on of guys that they really want with just how the interest picks up immediately. So there hasn't been an offensive lineman that they've done that with. That's why I think there's like three guys out there, maybe more than that haven't entered the portal that FSU's kind of waiting on. And you have to be patient with this stuff because you can't get it wrong. You have to get it right. Just like with Love Taylor. They could not miss on Love Taylor. They didn't. They had a really good job. They knew the guy they wanted. They went after him. Bam, got it done. That's kind of what they have to do with this other offensive tackle position. You can't mess this up. You have to make sure it's the right guy. So if that takes patience where you're passing on guys that are just serviceable, then so be it.
All right. Jeff, thank you, man. Appreciate the tip.
Appreciate it.
Very generous of you, man. Thank you very much. Let's go back to the phone lines. Scroll at the bottom of your screen, promo code as well. Got a caller. It looks like potentially Central Florida, maybe. What's up, caller? Who's this?
Yes, sir. This is Greg Dobson from Apopka, Florida.
Let's go. Greg and Apopka, man. What's good?
Let's do it.
It's a two-part question.
Go for it, man. Floor is yours.
And please excuse me because this is my first time calling.
Oh, you're good.
But I've listened to y'all for a while. Jamarian Tate and McKnight. Any news on them for next year?
Yeah,
and there's 3 guys from Apopka, Florida that are talented, and there should be 2022 class. Melendez, Loman, and the other guy, I'm sorry, he's in 23 class. I forget his last name, is defensive lineman. I didn't know if you've heard anything on those.
Okay. I'll get to your first part question. That was about Damori Tate and Ronaldo Green, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, both of those guys, Ronaldo played a lot last year. I think he'll be a big part of their rotation. Obviously, for people that didn't know, Damori went through an academic situation, kind of similar to what Kelvin Benjamin had to go through his first year. Same thing. He's good to go. He's ready to go for the spring. He's going to be an impact guy as far as I'm concerned. I mean, he's a guy that is going to help your secondary pretty quickly, immediately, just because he's long, he's athletic, he's fast. He can cover so much ground. He limits passing windows very well. Main thing is just getting him comfortable with the setting of playing college football, playing at that speed. But he is a guy that I think is going to make a significant impact as far as this year. I'm not going to say he's going to start, but I think he's going to play considerably a lot, kind of similar to way Travis Jay as his freshman year. I think you'll see some of that where they make splashes and you see them. So those 2 guys jump out to me. The Central Florida guys you mentioned, I don't hear much with FSU with those guys that I think you're referring to. I'll cover that in detail when I pop my hot board coming up. We already did the quarterback, so we'll get to defense eventually. But I don't think those guys at this time are the main ones. Now, I will say from the Central Florida area, you do have two that FSU is very high on, which is the Henderson brothers over there at Sanford, Seminoles Sanford. I think FSU is very high on them. I think FSU has a really good shot with both of those guys. One's a corner, one's a safety. That's Damari and Damari Henderson, and I forget the other one.
Jamari.
Yeah, Jamari. So both of them, I think, are high on FSU. So as far as Central Florida guys, those are probably the guys that kind of jump out to me right now. I'll keep pressing to see if there's anything developing with the guys in the Apopka area, but right now that's kind of the main Central Florida guys.
Yes, sir. Well, I thank y'all so kindly. I'll go ahead and get off the phone. I enjoy listening to y'all, and thank you, and y'all keep on doing what you're doing.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks for the call, Greg.
Thank you very much.
I thank y'all so kindly. Thank y'all.
Those brothers you just mentioned, Michael, the Henderson guys, they're basketball players, right?
Yes, they're very good. Very good in basketball. They got offers from Oklahoma, Florida, TCU in basketball. FSU, ironically, was the first offer for football for both of those guys.
All right.
So that was the interesting part. They have a lot of nice offers for basketball.
A guy here, 6 foot 150. Man, we got like James.
He's
Black.
bigger. He's bigger than that now. I saw him in the state title game. He's bigger than that.
Okay.
He's 6 foot 150 now. I can tell you that. I saw them both in person. So I wish I could send you the picture that I took that was on Warchant for a little while. But I would probably say both of them are probably around 6 foot 175, 170. I would say they're around there. So nice size. I would say one's a little bit bigger than the other. I would say one's 175, one's 180.
Yeah.
So they're a lot bigger than what this profile suggests. So don't read everything in this profile, guys. They're a lot bigger than that now.
Oh, very well. Oh, check it out, man. Let's go. James B's in the house, late arriving, but always bringing the hospitality, man. Let's go.
Straight cash, homie.
Horn Gang, one of the OGs of the Horn Gang.
He loves it. He loves it.
James, thank you so much, man.
Thank
really
you. Appreciate it, James. Appreciate it.
Apparently, we're up to 100 likes as well, or maybe that's what we're setting the goal at. Gator Kurt, keep fighting the good fight for us on YouTube. We appreciate it. Speaking of offensive line recruiting, Michael, James B asks, what have you heard about Alabama trying to snake Atkins? Well, they got Doug Marrone. They're good. They're covered.
Yeah. I mean, that's Aslan just covered them. Aslan just answered a question for me. Doug Marrone's probably I think he's already been close to being announced offensive line coach at Alabama. So you can take that off your worry list. Now we just focus on Marcus Woodson and see if Georgia tries to get him from FSU. But
ooh, don't say that, Michael. Don't say that.
That's really the only one I'm following. I'm not following it heavily. I think there's other candidates that are much higher on the board than Marcus, but that's the only one really that I think FSU has any concern with or any slight concern with. So, but no, Atkins, you don't have to worry about him. I think we're good to go with. He's good to go with FSU.
For those not keeping score at home, Alabama has a head football coach who's won 6 national titles now. His offensive coordinator is a former NFL coach who won his division, I think, 2 years ago. And now his offensive line coach is a head coach in the NFL, formerly that made it to the AFC Championship game 4 years ago. Yeah, I mean.
That's what he does. That's what he does.
What they do, man. It's amazing. It is flipping amazing. We lost. Actually, no, let me see here. There was somebody asking about quarterbacks. Okay. So want to pop that up here on the screen. Michael Carpenter, what's the one quarterback you desire the most for 2022? Not who we can realistically get, but who you really want to come here amongst the scholarships distributed, Michael.
Well, my number one guy, I wouldn't say I desire, because the only thing I desire is my wife, but I would say the guy that I would want the most, that if you gave me a pick out of all of them, is Cade Klubnik from Texas, Austin, Texas. He plays at Austin Westlake. They just won the state championship. I watched this kid, very talented, probably one of the fastest runners I've seen as far as when the pocket breaks down, this kid can motor. He's got some big-time wheels. I just like the way he's commanding the pocket. He's always in control. He seems to be everything that Norvell likes. I mean, Norvell likes guys that have some ability to him, as we've seen with guys like Chubba Purdy. But I think this kid fits everything you want. He can make all the throws. He seems to be – you really do not see him make too many bad decisions when it comes to throwing the ball. He seems comfortable. Even when pressure's on, throws in his face, he can kind of do a little bit of everything. So that's the guy. If I was picking one guy, Cade Klubnik will be my guy. I mean, he just seems to fit everything you want. I know he's only 146 right now, which is a Rouse 250 kid, but I think he's a Rouse 100 kid, definitely in my eyes. I think he just does everything that you want. His decision-making is tremendous, and I just love what he does in the pocket, his presence in the pocket, the way he moves his feet, the way he sets things up to get bigger passes down the field. And he just can make all the throws you're looking for. When you're talking about the complete package, if there was one in this offense, this is kind of the guy I love. Just like I said, he is – I hope we show some clips of his speed because he can absolutely fly. As you see, ball placement's really good right there on the deep ball. We showed before the hard slant pass that he threw. Kid just has a good feel for the whole game of football. Even there, guys in his face, he puts it perfectly right in the hard slant, right there in the middle, and then he can just absolute motor, see him in the open field. I think he played state championship game. He had like a 65-yard run in the state title game. And you watch when the things break down, this kid can absolute go. So I just love everything about his game. His game just stood out to me the most ever since FSU's offered. I spent a lot of time watching this kid, and I think he's the guy. If you gave me one guy, he would be my dude.
Follow-up question from Chris.
Okay.
YouTube, I had myself muted. I'm sorry. I fell off the phone line, had to dial back in, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay.
I watched a video with a newspaper in Arizona that interviewed him, and they pronounced his last name Marchio, which
okay.
I would not pronounce Marchio, but I'm going to say Marchio because I imagine the guy in Arizona interviewing him knew so much. So Chris asks, what about quarterback Nico Marchio?
Guess he's asking where FSU stands since I feel so highly about Cade. Well, I think that's the thing. They wanted to give themselves a lot of options. Who knows if they take one or two? I haven't heard they're going to take two yet. For now, I've just heard one. I just have a suspicion, just gut feeling that it could take two. But he's a guy. Nico is a guy that his sophomore season was phenomenal. He's a southpaw. He can sling it. This year, he's added a different dimension with his run game. Didn't have a great junior season because, his offensive line was not that good. They got to the state finals game, lost on a field goal, but had a rough junior season because of that offensive line. So his numbers were way down compared to what he was as a sophomore. But the one thing I do like about Nico, very quick release. That really jumps out at me when I watch his game. He gets rid of that ball very quickly. And then this year, I think he's added a lot with his running game. The kid can go. He's got good speed for a quarterback. Certainly adds a different dimension as far as when you run the ball. And then as people can see in the release, he just gets rid of that ball really quick. It pops out of his hand. Didn't have the stats that he did as a freshman, but he can do a lot of nice things. He would be a very good prospect for FSU to add. He's visiting FSU this week, also visiting Florida. I've already put my forecast in for FSU. Did that a while back. I would not change that. I still think it's going to be FSU from what I've been told. I think I haven't heard anything that makes me change my mind from FSU. But that's the thing with all these guys. All these players are talented, so you got to pick and choose things that really just jump out to you and stand out about certain guys. So I feel like when I say Klubnik, they think that everyone else stinks. And that's the thing. They have a lot of elite guys in this group that are talented receivers. Nico is a very good prospect and certainly a guy that FSU has been on the longest out of anybody. So if Nico's the most likely guy for FSU to land, I should also add that. So Cade's in Austin, Texas. Jimbo's going to be after him. You know that. Sark's going to be after him. So the likelihood of getting a guy like Nico is just more likely. But I think a lot of them with these kids, they're all talented. They all do some of the similar things as far as ball placement, arm talent. Some of them are a little bit better runners than others. Nico's a really good runner. MJ Morris is another one that I like a lot. That is a very good runner. Obviously, Cade's a really good runner. So, and then some of them are more your standard pro style passing guys. But the bottom line is this: if you get one of these dudes, you're getting a really good quarterback. And that's kind of the way I look at their quarterback position as far as recruiting in 2022. So Florida's making a push for Nico, but at the same time, I have not heard anything that would make me change my mind there.
All right. As we wind things down, approaching the top of the hour here on the show, Dan Squatch, not to be confused with Sasquatch. How surprised would you be if we were to land Taiwan Malone? He puts in parentheses, very.
What's the very for?
Very. I think he's saying that he would be very surprised.
Okay, so he would be very surprised.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be that surprised. I mean, that might shock some people, but I've said this for a while that I thought all three teams, Texas A&M, Ole Miss, and FSU, were all close. I think Ole Miss is probably the perceived leader right now, but I think Texas A&M, FSU are both right there. Supposedly going to take a visit to, I think, Ole Miss again, but I think the main thing with me is just it is so tight with this one because there's two different aspects to this. Okay, both Ole Miss and Texas A&M had ties to either the high school or the high school coach that's there, whereas FSU, at least in my perception, from people I've talked to and even Taiwan himself, I get the impression he's most comfortable in Tallahassee. I mean, he felt really comfortable in that visit. So you have the comfort level versus the guys you trust a lot as far as on your high school coach or the high school programs that have ties there. So really, that's what it comes down to. Which one's going to oversee the other? I think comfort's a big deal to Taiwan. I think baseball is a big deal to him. When I look at baseball, I look at Texas A&M and I look at FSU. Ole Miss is they got a nice team, but I mean, it's not like a team that just sets the world on fire in baseball every year. That you're one of those can't miss programs. So I think those two, that's what makes it close, in my opinion, of those teams. One, the comfort he has with FSU. I think that visit certainly helped FSU a lot. And then two, just FSU's baseball program and Texas A&M's baseball program for that matter has done a really good job. Obviously, Texas A&M on the football gridiron is the more proven team out of all those teams between FSU, Ole Miss, and Texas A&M. So I think it could go either way. I mean, I really would not be surprised if he picked Texas A&M. I wouldn't be surprised. If he picked Ole Miss, I wouldn't be surprised, and I definitely wouldn't be surprised with FSU because of the reasons I give you. So I think it's still very tight. I don't have a forecast pick for Taiwan yet. I hope to have that by next week. I hope to know for sure which way this thing's going to go, but I would not count on any of those teams.
All right. Well, let's take one final call as we hit the hour mark here on the program. Final caller of the evening. Looks like it's an 850 number. Welcome to the program, caller. Who's this? Where are you calling us from?
Hey, this is Bo from Tallahassee.
All
yeah.
Right. What's up, Bo?
Hometown guy. Let's go.
What? Oh, Bo. I don't know. Can you hear me? Man, this phone line keeps my goodness. Let's see if I can quickly get back into this queue here, Michael. Hang tight, Bo. I'm coming, man. I'm coming. Hang tight. Let's see if we can get this going.
Enter your 6-digit PIN number.
I know. We try to make everything work, but sometimes it doesn't go according to plan.
Welcome, host.
Oh,
you are now
dropped
in the
out.
host room and can
drop
manage
out.
your callers from the call-in studio web
All right.
interface.
Well, Bo, if you're still out there, if you want to try to call us back here in the next minute or so, while we do wind down the program, try to get you in here so you can get your question asked to Michael.
I'll stay a little late for you, Bo.
You can wait, Michael. You can post a question on Warchant. I ain't going to wait. I did my time. I did an hour. But otherwise, Michael, if we see he maybe pops in, I'll interrupt you here. But what should people have to look forward to over on the PRB here from you in the next few days and over the weekend?
Yeah, moments I'm going to go over there on the PRB and I'm going to answer all your questions. You guys had a bunch in there this week. So I've already gotten most of them answered. I'll answer the remaining ones. I'll get to that. We'll also keep releasing our hot board. The next position, I don't know. Ours going to surprise me, so they're all done. So it's just up to him what position he wants to put up next. But that's kind of what we have coming up. We're going to do the hot board, and I'm going to continue to update the transfer portal, continue to give you guys updates. I'll probably have another update on that late tonight as far as some guys added to the portal. I can tell you, Aslan, the guy I was mentioning to you from Tennessee, linebacker Henry Tutu, has now entered the transfer portal. He had 140 tackles, 12 tackles for loss. He's a good one. So I would think that would be a guy they're interested in.
All right, here we go.
We've been waiting for a linebacker that they would be interested in. I think this kid kind of checks off the boxes as far as talent.
All right, right on. Bo's called back in. We got him on the line now. Bo, what's up, man? What's your question for Michael?
Hey, Michael. Aslan. My question is, whatever happened to Manny Rogers? Is he still in the fold, or is he out of the picture? I'll hang up and listen to the answer. Thank you.
Thanks, Bo. Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate the call, Bo. Last I'd heard when I talked to his high school coach, Bo, they told me he was at Henderson Junior College. I have not heard anything else. I posted about this probably several months ago on Warchant that I had not heard that FSU was making a big push. So apparently, one, they were sold on what they have, or two, maybe he's not doing as well at JUCO as they thought or wanted to. So FSU has not been pushing there. So supposedly he's at Hutchinson Junior College, Community College, and as far as I know, he's still there. That also plays into the numbers for FSU if you don't sign that guy or he doesn't come back. I think there's some leeway with that as far as a number. But that's kind of the deal with Manny, that he is currently at a JUCO and no push from FSU. So don't think there's interest there right now.
Maybe analytics aren't friendly to this kid, but I know a couple. I got a couple buddies, not a couple buddies. I know there's a guy that I used to work in Jackson, Mississippi with. That's a big time Tennessee fan that loved Henry Tutu. His grades are not that sexy, but he had a good game against Vandy and did well in run defense against Florida, I guess. Let's see what else. Not really all that jumping off the screen, but he still might take some plays for them, I think, though.
Yeah, it just depends on if he jumps out to FSU and did play for a defense that wasn't that great. They weren't stopping a lot of people. So if they see something skill set that FSU feels like they have to have, then and they jump on it, then yeah, there you go.
All right. Michael, let's give a shout out real quick as we wind down the program. Here's all the folks that called in, those who hit the thumbs up button. We do appreciate it. Also, the folks who were kind and generous enough to throw us some tips for our time. That includes James B. Thank you very much, James B. Jeff Khalil. Ed dropped some money, or I got to refresh it. This is some of the stuff from last night. But, hey, Jeff and Khalil also were part of the show today. Thomas coming back. Willie Johnson, of course, just the style and the ninja. Here's 150. I'm gone. So we do appreciate it. And then, as Michael said, head over to warchant.com right now. The Premium Recruiting Board, he'll be getting all those questions answered as well. 2 more weeks. We'll do it again. Get everything ready for that signing period. Mike, thanks for the time and the knowledge.
You got it, man. Thanks for having me.